Compact phones are somewhat of a rarity these days. Of course, you've got the iPhone SE, iPhone 12 and 13 minis, and then the new Asus Zenfone 9 and 10. But of course, these cost a lot. You're talking 300 quid or more. But this Samsung Galaxy S10e from 2019 can be picked up for as little as 150 quid. So let's talk about it. So unless you've got a budget of about 300 quid, your options are pretty limited. You've got the iPhone SE from 2020, or if you're lucky, a 2022 model, or the Galaxy S10e. Now it might be getting on a bit, but it still offers some really premium specs, more so than a lot of 2023 budget phones. For a start, it's an all glass and aluminium build. Both the front and back glass are made from Gorilla Glass 5. And there's a 5.8-inch 60Hz dynamic AMOLED display with HDR10+ support. And there's also full IP68 water and dust resistance, which is more than almost all budget phones today. And you also get a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which is fast and responsive. I just wish it just was a little bit lower. So overall handling of the phone is super premium, and it's a really nice compact design. And there's no hand gymnastics to reach all parts of the screen. Of course, if you're used to larger displays, content consumption like playing games and watching videos isn't going to be as immersive on this small display as it is on a big display, but nevertheless it's still pretty good. And if you're enjoying this video so far, a sub to the channel would be awesome. The quality of the display is absolutely great. It's a 1080p panel with almost 440 pixel per inch, so it's pin sharp. And of course the colour reproduction is great, as you'd expect from a then flagship Samsung device. And brightness tops out at about 800 nits, which even today is plenty respectable and bright enough for outdoor use. You also get a 10 megapixel selfie camera in the punch hole cutout in the top right. Most today are in the top left or in the centre, so it was a bit weird seeing it there to start with. And it has an f1.9 aperture and also supports 4K video recording up to 60 FPS. So of course, being a smaller phone, naturally the phone's going to have a smaller battery, and the 3100 mAh battery in the S10e is plenty enough to get me through a light day of use. But if you're an avid gamer or someone that uses the camera quite a lot, you will notice the battery drop quite quickly. But to be fair, even brand new, this wouldn't be the phone for you given its small battery. And unfortunately, the phone only supports 15-watt charger, and even with that small battery, 30 minutes will only get you from 0 to about 40%. It's not horrendous, but it's definitely not the best on the market. But you do get 15-watt wireless charging on the S10e, so at least that's something. Now as for performance, region dependent, you either get the Snapdragon 855 or the Exynos 9820 with either 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 or 256 gigabytes of UFS 2.1 storage. Here in the UK, we get the Exynos model, and I found performance during my moderate use to be absolutely flawless. Apps open quickly, photos process instantly. I haven't encountered any stutters in my use. And even 4 years later, this phone performs very well, and the mediocre battery life aside, this should perform as good as, if not better than, a lot of new budget phones. Overall swiping is fast and responsive, despite the lack of a high refresh rate display. And as for software, the S10e is running the slightly older One UI version 4.1 on top of Android 12, which is pretty good for a 4-year-old device. And the software experience is similar to other Samsung devices. When signed into your Samsung account, you get the usual access to really customize your phone with themes and wallpapers. The usual settings like changing your fonts and screen size are present. Even easy mode that is skipped on One UI Core is here too. And despite having a tiny 5.8-inch display, you even get Samsung's one-handed mode, so if you've got the hands of a child, you're sorted. And lastly, onto the cameras of the S10e. You get a dual rear setup headlined by a 12 megapixel sensor with a variable f1.5 to f2.4 lens from the S9 and optical image stabilization. And you also get a 16 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide, which supports Samsung's super steady mode. And photo quality from the main camera is still really great even today. There's plenty of detail, and with auto HDR you get good consistent exposure in both brighter and darker areas. There's also the usual Samsung colour profile, which I prefer over other manufacturers' more muted colours. And overall the photos are great, and that variable aperture ensures you get the right amount of light on the lens when needed. There's also a few other shooting modes, including Pro Mode, Pro Video, Panorama, Portrait Video and Single Take. And the ultra wide also produces some really pleasant photos. Colour reproduction doesn't deviate from the main camera, and due to the 16 megapixel resolution you get plenty of detail and sharpness. And lower light is where the ultra wide will naturally struggle compared to the main, but you do get night mode supported on both cameras to help brighten those scenes. And video quality from the S10e is great, with colours and dynamic range similar to the photos, and you get overall great quality results. Electronic image stabilization is available on all models except 4K at 60 FPS, But I think for most people, 1080p will be sufficient, and you also get Samsung's super steady mode at this resolution, so it's nice and smooth. So here is some sample video coming from the front-facing 10 megapixel camera of the S10e. Do let me know down in the comments what you think of this video. On the screen, it actually looks pretty good. And let me know what the audio quality is like coming from this video. So this is just a quick sample video coming from the portrait video mode on the Galaxy S10e. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the quality. I can't see right now. And let me know what the audio quality is like. Of course, I use my iPhone 14 Plus for all of my video recording for videos on YouTube, and of course the S10e isn't going to be a patch on that video. So again, let me know down in the comments what you think of the video on this phone. So that's my very quick look at 2019's Samsung Galaxy S10e. Overall, a really nice compact phone. It's got a really great premium design, really good cameras, a stunning display, although a lack of a high refresh rate. Of course, it has got slightly mediocre battery life, but if you're just a light user, someone that just uses it for the bog standard, bit of social media browsing, phone calls, a bit of messaging, something like that, you'll get through a day, not a problem. Of course, if you're a heavy user, this isn't going to be the phone for you. But of course, let me know down in the comments what you think of the Galaxy S10e. Are you using one now, or is it one that you would consider buying in 2023? Let me know down in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy videos like this, and I will be putting out a lot more videos of phone reviews, new and old, and I'll see you next time.